I wouldn't be surprised if both junglers take a liking to camping topside.
Well, let's take a look at how it goes here as we're going to hop onto the Rift for game number 3. Alrighty, game begins here for the 2019 LCK Summer. We're almost at the halfway point, actually, of Summer. Somehow it's going super fast. Do want to mention how the Sejuani has taken Hail of Blades here.
I tweeted about this when I saw Optic. I forget who Meteos was playing, but it was the same matchup. Obviously, a very common pick in North America is the Trundle. And we didn't see a movement away from Aftershock. You can still make the Aftershock work, but it's a lot of kind of baiting out gameplay and disengaging, kind of like if you're playing against a Taric when it comes to not allowing your basically naked Sejuani, it feels like, when you lose the Aftershock and have negative resists with how the Trundle ultimate works. You can play around it. You can also go Hail of Blades, and it reminds us of the Fleet Footwork Sejuani days from Meta's past. So it's just a choice that has been seen in Korea. It's the second time. Dread from Afrika did it the first time. We're going to give you those runes, because people did ask, where do you actually go around the Hail of Blades? And you get Cheap Shot, Ghost Poro, and the Ultimate Hunter. Ultimate Hunter needs no explanation, but the Cheap Shot is even more damage. For a jungler that we have to remember is more about the damage and less about the tankiness after the latest changes to Sejuani in the last couple of months of patches.
See Rascal here going Conqueror. Picked up, I believe, the Last Stand as well. So
a
heavy
Caps
trading.
Import. Cool to see. Caps was the first I saw go Conqueror on more champions. I'm thinking of the Sylas and the Akali at MSI and winning reverse matchups on the Akali. So Conqueror definitely a favorite of G2's MSI champion mid laner. Does mean you can go into different items, like Leandries and Conqueror have a lot of synergy because you want to stay high uptime in combat and utilize your Conqueror as much as possible. Going down from there, I guess Summoner Airy is a different rune in mid lane, so a little bit more oomph in the trades from Naehyun.
He's got a shield too, so always a nice thing to pick up on the Orianna. Different, as you mentioned.
TusiN also has changed runes, so this double rune change for Kingzone from their earlier performances on champions. The Guardian is gone, the Comet is there, they want to get the health bar lead. Try to bait out a shield and then maybe twirl around it. Hard to do in this particular lane. So Comet is the Lehen's favorite. He's who most people look to for rune choices and playstyle on the Yuumi. We'll talk about the top lane matchup again, though, but we might actually have to zoom in on it. UmTi spotted on a ward.
You said zoom in right as Jonah Strong zoomed in. That was weird.
We got great synergy. I've played ranked with him before.
There you go.
He didn't carry me.
No?
No.
He hit Diamond 2.
He was very proud of that fact.
Yeah, he let us know about that today.
Rascal's having a group. The minion wave's not grouped here, so KT actually don't have that much threat. This is actually pretty poor minion wave control from Smeb, who's fantastic. This is what you want to do, have two plus kind of minion waves collect together and then threaten a dive. KT tried to fast do it, and then it was a minion wave that was outside turret, so not the cleanest from KT. Obviously, still in that desperate scenario. They would be 2-7 in the first round robin, as every team's first game this week is their ending to the first round robin, if they were to go on to lose this game. But I wanted to speak a little bit more about the Akali versus Aurelia matchup. Even old Akali versus old Aurelia. Akali was one of those few Aurelia counter picks back in the better nerf Aurelia days that existed, but most teams weren't confident to run it. The ability to drop damage is so big against Aurelia, who now gets those on hits and attack speed building up. So we're going to see Trundle look for this. It's a level 4 Ori, so not a lot of follow-up.
Literally gave a shield, and that was it.
I think the idea is that you're in the W, you drop aggro, but you still poke to keep your Conqueror up, and then you re-engage after Aurelia's kind of had to drop her damage. And it can snowball the way of the Akali. Akali is also a squishy mage, and she can be snowballed on, but historically, Akalis have enjoyed the matchup.
Yeah, and it was a counter pick of sorts. You mentioned how Rascal is the Akali player. It was picked right after the Aurelia, so you have to admire that here from the side of Kingzone. Good read in that pick of the draft at least. I'm definitely curious to see if Naehyun can actually have a good performance on the Orianna. Game 1, they had the Jarvan-Orianna combination, as well as, who is their support? Actually,
You've got it written down there, Valdez. I'll let you take
Taric, so no, it's just mainly the Orianna and the J4. But this time around, not too much to go off of, maybe Rascal. So Naehyun will have to do a lot of work himself.
And the ball carriers here are quite unreliable for Kingzone, right? It's Trundle that's just kind of walk in after he put down his pillar. The most reliable one that kind of can do it J4 style is Akali, but then you're using a lot of your gap close and really relying on that 3-4 item shockwave. You don't want to see that when it's a 1 item shockwave because not enough damage or shielding. So that's going to be a bit more conditional for the side of Kingzone.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a extremely fast engage when you think about it, so that would be pretty nice.
If Ori can get through the early laning phase, you can start farming it out. This is a matchup, though, where Kingzone BDD pulled off the reverse legendary, we'll remember, against SK Telecom T1 at the end of summer, so can definitely snowball to the Zoe side. Ori's just there for farming.
Okay, UmTi here, level 5. But could still look for the gank as Rascal going to push up quite a large distance. Nice stun underneath that, but the Aurelia one will not land. As Rascal just going to walk away very simply from that gank.
Yeah, was able to actually open up space. Hard to say if the initial decision was to go for an aggressive trade or not, but with opening up space, actually held on to the perfect execution and flash. So who am I to say anything other than take my hats off to Rascal? Keeping up both your offensive tools and your defensive tools there is pretty important.
Yeah, he had an incredibly large amount of minions too, so maybe some kind of turnaround could have been considered, but...
Be careful here, Smeb.
Yeah.
I would say burst range is probably about 35 to 40% of Smeb's health bar. Decreased damage with that W against the magic damage from the Akali. Onto the Rift Tower here. AT did not put down a defensive control ward, or if they did, it was already cleared. So the timing a little bit late from UmTi. The coverage is there, and nice little Cloud Drake around their priority bot lane that we've seen already happen.
Yeah, not half bad. You can get even more movement speed with the Sivir that you already have. You mentioned ball carriers and engage. I feel like it's going to be mostly Pillar, Akali in the back line, and running at them with On the Hunt.
It feels like a late ball, like late shockwave, right? It does feel like Trundle running in with Sivir and the final chapter, and then the ball being held for later is kind of what we need to see. But it's janky, right? It's not as simple as something like Jarvan Ori that they had in the game number 1. So it's more conditional, sort of thing that if you control the pit and you're having Trundle tank Baron with shields, the turn can be strong, but purely engaging, it's still very conditional.
Yeah, gonna look forward to Naehyun and his ultimates, as I believe he missed another cannon there, not 100% sure. It's been a little bit shaky on that so far. But yeah, another slow start to this game. We're 9 minutes in, and the only action has been the Cloud Drake going down and a failed gank in the top side.
So it's on us to bring the action sometimes, Valdez. Kind of our creed here. If the game's not doing it, we're trying to do our best to keep you entertained. It's okay, game. Okay, calm down.
All right. Didn't even mention Fidel. Still the action came out.
Wait, hold on to that one.
Surprise.
Keep that one in the chamber. Don't shoot the bullet now.
People who are joining the cast late, they're just like, what?
Why is Fidel being mentioned?
Who's Fidel?
Now, we've said Fidel enough times that I'm kind of thinking of adjacent words, and I'm thinking of the movie High Fidelity. Have you seen that movie? It's a John Cusack movie.
High Fidelity.
It's Jack Black's first film. You haven't seen it?
No.
Watch it with your girlfriend sometime in the future.
Okay.
Excellent, excellent, excellent movie. My favorite
Really?
Jack Black film, actually.
So it must be an old one, right? If it's
90s, late 90s,
90s.
Maybe early 2000s. Really good film. But I just had that. It was one of those moments where, you know, the part of your brain where the word Fidel is like activating the side ones there. Really good movie.
It's interesting you thought about that movie. For some reason, I thought about Fido, the dog name.
What about action, Valdez?
Okay. All right. BDD just ignites and walks away as the Lux Shield is obnoxious. Trading up at the top side, and you'll notice the Shroud is going to be down when the Sejuani gets here. Rascal, though, still has his flash and his ultimate, but Sejuani over the wall. Rascal trying to get away from this one, but the flash on in from UmTi means that the stun is able to land. And we will have a dead Akali. First blood going to be handed over to BDD, and UmTi immediately goes for Shelly.
Impressive attempt at the Great Escape, but no one's backing him up. Trundle's going to do counter jungling. Orianna can't respond. The first blood onto the Zoe, very welcome to accelerate the one-item power spike. Rascal's played the lane and played the escapes well. That time, he's finally close.
Interesting what UmTi did. He actually backed off of the Rift Herald, and you can see that Kingzoner like, he's doing it, but he actually stopped. So a little bit of a fake out there, ruining Cuzz's path as he was trying to steal the Raptors, but instead had to go check the Rift Herald.
It does start to feel like Rift Riot was a bit of a fake out to the action-packed LCK that people might have expected. Return into a bit of normalcy here. Super far down the lane with no coverage, no backup is Rascal, trying to just use the fact that he held onto his summoners before. UmTi comes over at the perfect time because it draws an extra escape. And even that pesky Akali gets out, but do notice that leaving Rascal for BDD to lap up. Conqueror was getting some good work done at the end and maybe a preview of future trades.
The pesky Akali can do some crazy stuff if given a chance, but just the way this lane has played out, you can see that Smeb is already up 20 CS with more to go. You can see that he's freezing the lane. There's no flash on Rascal now, and he's able to get the lane in a great spot. UmTi still has his ultimate.
Yep.
This is a fantastic set play. We'll see if they can pull it off.
Watching here. Hitting the first CC to make this an easy ult is difficult, so UmTi has to go for it.
Right, not quite able to get that first Aurelia stun, but they're able to track Rascal with the scan, and oh boy, UmTi is going to sail wide with that one, and tries to take that one, has the stopwatch to save him from that embarrassment, but they do end up getting the kill, even though it was a little bit shaky.
Yeah, the Sejuani ult goes wide. Combo of aggression gets it, but look what's happening around the map. They're going to lose Drake, and they're losing turret plates on the bot side. Hopefully, for KT's sake, Aurelia can rack up some gold. It's a successful gank overall, but Rascal shows why it's just so annoying to try to pin down this Akali.
All right, now trying to get on top of BDD, who has his flash available. Naehyun, no mana at all, and look at BDD just laugh in their face.
Yeah, there's just no validity to a Trundle mid lane gank for an Ori. It doesn't work. It's just nothing you can do. Speaking of the Ori mid lane, though, we'll hold on to the point until after the replay when we get the scoreboard back up. But interesting build choice from Naehyun. We watched the replay. Rascal plays it as good as you can, given the scenario. UmTi waiting to ult. Very nice sidestep there. Again, you see where Conqueror is pretty sick, is in that some of the sustained trades that happen. Stopwatch has to be blown, but Naehyun's doing his best karma impression. Will rush Athene's on the Ori to at least get something out of Orianna before the damage. So this does delay damage longer, but it does mean the shielding is a little bit more valid.
He's picked up the Summoner area and can be a little bit of a shield bot here. It's not necessarily what we see out of Naehyun too much nowadays, but specifically in this series, we've seen the Karma. Now we're seeing the Athene's Orianna, and he's going to be helping out his team just fine, as Rascal has fallen pretty far behind up in the top side. You can see down this 20 CS and 2 deaths already. We'll see if maybe this will be Deft's turn to carry the game.
Sejuani, she's nowhere near Trundle. Can make things happen, and Trundle notoriously bad at making things happen. Haven't found any space in the bot lane to get ganks off, only the Drakes, and they haven't been punishing one. So the gods of RNG are favoring KT here because they're playing completely topside, and they've only given up what's soon to be 2 Oceans and a Cloud Drake.
UmTi just hanging around mid lane. Has red buff, his ultimate, and a dream. But just not going to go for it just yet. Good scouting there by Naehyun with the ball.
Absolutely no vision on that side, so yep, nicely done.
Blue buff, very important. especially before you can pick up too many mana items on the Orianna.
But everywhere Sejuani goes, good things are happening. It's not quite the kills on the bot side, but it's wrestling back the river control that Kingzone took when KT was top side. And then KT decides, no, we want to own bot side now. And it's not like Kingzone are going to get answering leads easily on the top side. So this is what can happen with Trundle comms if you don't pick strong, aggressive lanes around it. Speaking of aggression, Cuzz going to have to try to tank around the mid side. When you pick these lanes that can farm it out but don't actually have a lot of initiation power, Trundle often ends up hopping mad between camps and between lanes, but not actually doing anything when he gets there.
16-minute Rift Herald. You don't see that every game, as UmTi had a chance to go for Shelly earlier on, but decided to go for it back instead. Maybe a team call, not sure. As speaking of team play, Kingzone, Cuzz trying to come down here and help out the bottom lane and just push where they have this winning lane so far.
But it's so sad compared to what's happening on the other side. There's no minion wave, right? There's no minion wave. It's still coming from base. The other one had been cleared. So they're not actually pressuring anything right now. And Rift Herald charge would definitely be... Wait, can Rascal interrupt it?
He should be able to. There you go. Comes back and again is going to miss. To be fair, though, perfect execution had to be used.
And best moment of the game. We were talking about how it was a sad trade. It's not anymore because they were able to group up with the minion wave and the Rift Herald was interrupted. Good read from Rascal. It's a very obvious place to place the Rift Herald, but you can see it through the control ward, right? You can see it through the Fog of War. Nicely done on the side of Kingzone, and now UmTi is getting back into the lineup, right? Going to be feeling a bit sheepish.
Yeah. To be fair, he did try to do his best to deny vision and put down a control ward, cleared out the vision, went back into a different brush.
But you know all of the enemy at bot lane, run straight into the lane brush. You're not going to run past Aurelia to make the play happen. Unfortunately, just didn't work out for the side of KT. It wasn't awful, right? We've seen some really poor Rift Heralds, especially when it started to become that must-secure objective at the start of spring. But, yeah, definitely means that Kingzone trade up in a scenario they should always have been second to.
All right, BDD getting some damage down here, and he's got a Lux behind him. Look at that poke that KT have in their lineup. Lux and Prey and BDD mainly.
Sejuani even going to do some decent damage, so that Athene's also gives the extra magic resist. Trying to shrug off those trades. KT, who have let Kingzone stack Drakes, should pick this one up without any contest, but it's only an Ocean Drake. No fight being put up, and it feels like Drake not going to be a primary objective in game number 3.
You mentioned, okay, well, he knows where he is, and unfortunately Prey. Okay, nice little play there with the ultimate, is able to get over the wall, but Rascal flashing in, he's not letting you get away. As a nice little solo kill comes down, the Ninja able to track down the Kaisa.
Yeah, really well played overall. Looked like it would be an escape for Prey, but even the blast plant doesn't provide any defense. Able to buff away the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Just Yumi things in that particular regard, but Rascal is the player. We did say the moment was locked in. This is a team that plays a Kali top and not a Kali mid. Rascal reminding us that his attempts to escape, they were pretty good. His kill secure, good too. Kingzone continue to try to trade up after their map play just earlier.
You got 4 people up in the top side, as Smeb considering a little play there. As Final Chapter even going to be committed to, as well as the Ignite. They're just trying to push Smeb out of lane. Maybe force him to use his teleport, but
it's all about the turret here. You saw Deft actually use his Boomerang Blade backwards just in case Smeb was camping the forward lane brush to try to punish. He's going to move away. Too much of an investment to defend from KT means that Kingzone will wave the white flag. But Rascal gets first access to the minion wave bot side, and he's got those items that always make you adjust your expectation on Akali. Gonna see this replay. He opens up, he's got that vision lead, and although Praise makes a valiant attempt to escape, the amount you can get over allows him to get the same spot on the blast plant and secure the kill.
Irai's happy. As okay, trying to outplay BDD, but the Zoe just a little bit too fast.
We're shouting.
Okay, here we go. The flash in from Deft. As immediately the responding teleport comes through. And oh boy. UmTi gonna go in between the members of King Zone.
All right, we're gonna shout about the first ultimate that hits. The last 3 have not been good.
Rascal just hanging around here, trolling them and delaying them to get into the mid lane.
Lux hit TusiN. Good job. And ult finally hit. I mean, the last 4, they were wow too.
Yeah.
Now, UmTi's all alone, actually. Separated from his team with no ult.
What is going on in this brush?
It's a tribute to something.
Our ward Gilbert has a bunch of friends now.
It's Gilberto. I don't know if they're
Who,
Gilbert name.
Oh. Gilberta.
There you go.
Yeah, Gilberta's a name.
Well, UmTi takes forever to clear the wards. Not quite Graves' level of speed, but he's no doubt sad about that. Shout out to Gilberto and Gilberta. The whole family have been taken out by UmTi. Can never trust those board riders.
Who was the blue ward?
No comment. Name redacted.
Yeah.
As honestly, the winner's pretty up in the air here when it comes to KT versus King Zone. Nameplates on, you want to say King Zone because of their recent form. But KT, one pick can very easily lead to a Baron. Kai'Sa can do a lot of Baron. Zoe, very strong around that Baron pit. And we already talked about the lack of ball carriers here. So nothing to pick between our 9th place team and one of our aspiring top teams between KT and King Zone. There's definitely more finger waving at King Zone than at KT. But KT, as we mentioned, desperate to find that 3rd victory to end the first round robin.
Still waiting on this one. Even taking 1 game from King Zone is a nice little feat. UmTi just saying hello. And now we're trying to dive onto BDD here. TusiN taking a huge amount of damage on the backside. Teleport going to be committed to, trying to get on top of Deft, but it's going to sail wide. Oh, nice sniperino here onto the Sivir. BDD is going to set up this play, but now Prey trying to go 1v3 here is going to go way too deep. And a dive down on the bottom side. Rascal, once again, just trolling the opponents, is able to just clear the wave and get away from danger.
But it's as his 80 carry does die. It was a 1-for-1 overall on the top side of the map. Rascal once again holding up the minion wave, forcing to take a turret shot. Kind of been the story of this game. 2 members set at Rascal. Even though King Zone had a man advantage, they just couldn't get any value out of this one because Ori was stuck wave clearing in the mid lane. Very, very aggressive. King Zone are trying desperately to find leads, to find picks, but their champions are not really standard pick champions. And the final chapter didn't actually scoop up Prey.
Kind of looked like Cuzz stopped moving right before to let it hit him, but it was a really nice play from BDD.
Another good look from Rascal on this Akali. Just really good at buying time. The Conqueror means that you have that extra 200-300 health to actually survive through some of these trades. Whether he was going to re-engage or not, queuing onto the minion wave did refresh his Conqueror buff. Speaking of buffs, it's going to be a really big Elder when we get around to it. We've had basically the maximum amount of Drakes claimed this game. Most likely one more regular one, at least perhaps 2, before the Elder spawns.
A lot of Ocean and Cloud in this game. We had a very eclectic lineup in our first couple of games, but now we're just going rainy season here. It's almost rainy season in Seoul. Not looking forward to that.
Hope you brought your umbrella. The weather report for tonight is also stormy, stormy, stormy.
I did not bring my umbrella. You know what that means. You and I get to cuddle under your umbrella.
Sounds great to me. I mean, it's Costa Synergy, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say the same thing. As we're going hunting for some Aurelias here, trying to turn it around as Aurelia wants to do. Deft actually getting pretty low, but it's not going to be enough here as he does avoid the death there just at the last second.
Rascal been on the matching service all game looking for a friend, finally finds one, finally gets a lead. in his lane. That means they can continue to push. Remember that Deft has teleport. We talked about the piggyback ganks in some of the recent games. This is one of those where you send someone you don't usually see in the Akali lane. In this case, it was anyone, but Deft with TP able to make that play. They get a kill. They keep pushing. That's going to be an inner turret down for Kingzone Dragon X.
Yeah, Deft's just all alone down there. Nobody able to respond, so he is able to get a nice amount of extra gold here for his team, and it does feel like the odds are slowly turning into Kingzone's favor, as we'll take another look here at the kill.
Pretty good play here, decisive about the start. Deft hits his E, and then Smeb just wants to turn on Deft because he's a far squishier and far easier to pin down. In the end, Rascal doesn't miss spells, so that means they have enough damage. Deft lives comfortably. They get the map play as well. It's killing an objective rather than just the kills that we saw from KT a lot in game number 1. And now Kingzone say, well, we can't initiate very well, but we can play the Baron dance game pretty cleanly and tank it for days on this Orianna Trundle comp. Deft not in position for that. KT want to stop the vision supremacy for Kingzone around Baron.
Cuzz and TusiN on his back doing a good job of getting in there and clearing the vision, but trying to catch him here is UmTi. Final chapter coming out and a really nice stun by Smeb. Throws out his ultimate, but nobody really able to follow up, and here we go. Kingzone looking to turn it around here. Prey is on the opposite side of that pillar, and he's the one that has to flash in the end.
They get the TP out of Rascal, and a nice chunk onto Cuzz. That means Smeb can push bot lane much more triumphantly. Perhaps they can find a way to make this work mid lane.
Oh boy, catches them both here as TusiN not even able to get onto anyone, and Prey is the one to pick up both of those kills. So nice joining on in and a good set play from the side of KT.
Yeah, nice opportunistic pick with the ultimate there. The Killer Instinct gets the pick on the duo lane, but importantly, UmTi is chunked out, so they can't just turn onto Baron and make that force 5v3. So while it's not ideal from Kingzone, it does delay a Baron bait that I think KT was chomping at the bit to start. You see the replay of how this all happened. UmTi not in vision, and this time he doesn't go wide, and importantly, yes, intending to spell shield the ultimate from the Glacial Prison. It ends up spell shielding the stun from the Aurelia. The little timings there were pretty key. Otherwise, Deft probably gets out scot-free.
You'd have to imagine that he thought he was entirely safe. It's very fast, especially with the Yuumi on his back and with Spell Shield. Shouldn't be caught, but it was just getting both of the stuns layered there at the same time, as you mentioned. That was the real key to the victory in that fight. And once again, it's kind of brought back to even here in terms of the gold. A couple of extra Drakes to the side of Kingzone, but it really is anybody's game from here.
Watching Cuzz, who continue to play defensively. Do remember that Trundle Pillar doesn't give vision anymore. That was removed many patches ago, so you can't play the Gragas style stand behind the pit on red side and check with Pillar again and again. Zone just wave clearing, which Sivir can do for days. They'll find it very hard to force anything though, so it should be KT pushing into getting that vision supremacy around Baron and then making the Baron bait play. TP advantage still on Smeb.
Zone very aggressive, trying to force spell shields and damage, but Deft this time just gonna flash away, not messing around here. As oh boy, Cuzz in the front line, but a huge amount of damage actually is thrown the other way, but we're diving now as really trying to get on top of Deft, but nobody can kill him here. Smeb desperately trying to do the damage, but can't even do it, as he is going to be the only one to go down there. The GA taken away as well.
KT just under turret. They had no exit plan. Yes, they got the first kill, but then awkward people tanking towers. They have to stopwatch on the Lux and flash just to live. And Kingzone are actually going to trade up and push down mid lane turret. Get a huge chunk on it. KT way out of position. Nothing to threaten. There's no health bar to threaten the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, you got a bunch of summoners and wins in the mid lane, but then diving on in there.
They've played like they had the minion wave tanking, right?
Yeah.
But if you watch how this play starts, it's another creative angle coming through from the Sejuani after the first stun hit from SnowFlower. The wave is forever away. when it comes to start this play, and yet they continue to go on aggressively to KT. And that's where it gets awkward, because very quickly, Smeb, important the shockwave hits, because then he's into GA. SnowFlower has to flash Zonias to make the play happen. Smeb has no exit, because the minion wave was cleared, and that's the issue that KT felt.
It's almost like they just assumed the rest of King Zone wouldn't come in to help, but we saw that the exit strategy was absent. Prey almost died to the last turret shot. Just barely got out of range in time.
Definitely a summoner spell atrocity on the side of KT. And while King Zone have used some flashes too, Naehyun has 3 items. Not the highest damage 3 items, but 3 items with a Void Staff. And finally, at level 17, can look at the enemy team and say, there might be a team fight winning Shockwave post 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be doing a lot of work. He also got Rascal, who, although he had a slow start to the game, he picked himself up an extra kill, and he's nearing 3 items himself with his own flash. So definitely has the ability to do a bunch of damage to some weaker targets without their summoners. As Cuzz is just getting bullied this game. Tons of damage, but doing a good job tanking, and here we go. King Zone trying to engage. Shockwave, they're onto just Smeb, but he doesn't have any summoners or GA, so they're easily able to pick off that Aurelia.
UmTi wasn't functioning as a frontline, so they didn't actually have the ability to play around Smeb's health bar. It's vacated, and they vacate mid lane. Oh boy, this could be a push through mid lane. It's going to take KT a lot of time to respond unless they just try and engage.
You can see that King Zone was just saying, bring it on. 4 of them, and the 5 of them, I mean, with the Yumi. Almost forgot about her. And, okay. Maybe Trouble Bubble's going to land, though. But even so, is able to dodge out that one super fast, but kind of in there all alone. Does have Yumi on the backside, but in goes Prey. Is able to assassinate the Akali for going way too deep on that play.
Uh-oh.
The BDD now, he's got some items, whereas SnowFlower does not.
5v4 now. It's King Zone that make the mistake. Rascal saw by the and they clean up Deft.
There you go. Able to get the snipe on the backside. Uses the flash that he picked up to make that play happen.
2 big moments. Prey actually chooses the right time for the Killer Instincts. Made some mistakes early in the season. Gets that kill. And they map up and mop up Deft on his health bar. That's a free Baron. King Zone started to disengage early. And KT Rolster trying to stave away the specter of relegation, a second split in a row. Pick up the Baron, and the right push with Baron buff, Death Cap Zoe, they could win the game with this Baron. Gonna watch the replay. Remember, it's 5v4. Rascal thinks I can get in there and get BDD. The outplays aren't there. The other members of King Zone can't help him out, and they have people up and down around the thick wall. It's so tricky to flash over. Deft gets chunked out, but the play could end here. Where do you recall in this spot was the question for Deft. He wants to try to contest the Baron. He knows that KT's going to start it, but the ward over the wall is swept too late.
Okay. 불러서 텔 가가지고 해야 돼 이거. 텔 여기 봐줄게 됐어.
You even see the response there. They know the moment that Deft goes down, so does Baron.
They pick it up, and somehow now KT, the very unlikely victors before we started the games, actually do have a chance in this one. Definitely in a fantastic spot now with the Baron. Really looking to try to make the push work. At 34 minutes, they might finally take down this first turret in the mid lane.
While we liked this comp from KT, with some of the choices, it even has a pretty clear game in the siege. There's a lot of wave clear from King Zone. It's not ideal to be sieging with specifically a Sivir. It does a lot of turret damage, but finds it very hard to get in range. Do notice it's burst build Kai'Sa. Zoe is a burst champion, and Aurelia does some burst too. Lux can help. They can just delete whoever walks up, and it's kind of just hit the right binding, delete whoever it is. You're kind of target agnostic, and then 5v4 turns out sieges are pretty easy. So for now, at least, KT have a lot of options to play this one out, because we've retired the Stormrazor recently. Much more onto the Manamune into Muramana Kai'Sa build that does crazy single target damage.
Well, KT really taking their time with this one, just letting Smeb push in the bottom lane.
Mid lane turrets against Sivir and Orianna.
Yeah, it's rough. Even with the Baron buff, it's not easy. Just look at Deft. so hard to hit anything, too. As the final chapter should be easy to hit. The Shockwave 2 going to get 2! And UmTi gets super low as well, and KT even with the Baron. Just cannot make it work. The flash on in from Deft. He's going to pick up a double kill. Smeb just trying to stun them all, but I feel like they're all getting baited in here as Rascal is going to get into the back line. We have to zoom out to try to see Smeb go 1v3, 1v4 rather. And that is absolutely not going to work. And against Baron, the -600 negative power play, you can say, for KT, and Kingzone able to wipe the floor with them.
LOL Park is silent. No one cheering on the KT or Kingzone side because Valdez, KT's parents made a delicious meal, spaghetti bolognese, and they're wearing it. They put it all over their shirt. They couldn't get it in their mouth. Everything was set up for them. They got the Baron after getting those nice picks, but they mismanaged what was their big win condition, and against the run of play, they lose an inhibitor when they were the team with Baron.
It's going to be an inhibitor, 5 kills, the Elder, all going the way of Kingzone. They've got 4 Elemental Drakes. One mistake like that, one wrong play, and you just turn around the game just like that. You got to be so careful, especially up against a good team like Kingzone.
And it's one of those things where, amusingly, the endearing, don't get excited about KT meme still exists, even when they're struggling. You watch the replay, if Prey goes in for auto attacks alone as 550 range Kai'Sa, that's already a mistake, but then this is the every man for himself trying to escape plan. They can come from multiple angles. Sejuani's health bar given up, trying to help out the AD carry there, so it's mostly a mistake for Prey, but it's also KT not even setting up smartly around the siege. If this was another team, Kingzone for example, someone would be threatening a turret dive on the right side of the mid lane outer turret to actually force Kingzone to hang back. Instead, they could just freely punish the one man in front of them. And the reason why I bring up don't get excited is 3 Infernal Drakes piked at one lane. They lost that game. This is pretty similar, Valdez, and it looks like they're going to lose this game as well. Right now, it feels like there's no lead that guarantees a victory for KT Rolster in LCK Summer 2019.
Definitely a unfortunate circumstance, but we'll see how they can do here, as Kingzone are absolutely ahead with the Elder, but not really finding too many objectives right here. They got the inhibitor earlier, so they were in the mid lane, and they're like, wait, we gotta move lanes here and go somewhere else.
Rascal's alone, but they've tried this story enough times to know. Rascal will be able to escape. Notice he's gone Guardian Angel. If you're gonna throw everything at Rascal, he's just gonna build another defensive item, go into the AD just fine, and wants just as much ability to outplay, clearly, in the build.
Come from Kingzone is interesting. We mentioned how there's kind of a lack of hard engage, but it's kind of like you're just running through a swamp or something. They have so many slows, and even the root from the final chapter. So Prey is sitting there trying to push, and there's just a pillar, there's a Yumi Q, there's a Orianna W. It's really annoying to deal with.
And people at home will ask, why not Zhonya's? Obvious item on the Akali. It's because you can actually use Guardian Angel Akali as a ball carrier. If you Zhonya's, it drops the ball back to the Orianna. If you fight with Guardian Angel, you can not care about your health bar and actually be there for the shockwave. So it's actually, with the Orianna, a smart choice from Rascal. As we're baiting Baron, KT don't know what to do.
Okay, stun comes out. Final chapter, though, going to hit 2 of them and force them to flash away. But in goes Rascal, immediately popped into that GA. That's where he's allowed to be super aggressive because of that item. Now with all of the slows they have, as I mentioned before, definitely hard for KT to get away, but it's just the one pick for now. And Deft, he's not stopping yet. The train is continuing from Rift Rivals, but Prey able to disengage, and Kingzone with the 1 kill will now move to Baron.
And they're so excited to go back here because we said they don't have engage. Their turn is good off of Baron. Sivir ult, Trundle Pillar, get whoever has their flash down. They can do this for days, and it feels like KT understand that. They're going to give up the Baron, and this one goes the way of Kingzone Dragon X.
It's going to be a hard one to stomach for KT fans and the members of KT, where it really felt like they were getting something going. Then just one mistake goes the other way. This is the Baron turn that we did just see.
much easier. In open areas, you just run straight back, but around terrain, the Baron area, there is places you can be flanked. Rascal comes in. He's got the Guardian Angel, so he can play wantonly aggressive. Whenever you make a turn like this, someone's going to be a straggler when you're against a level 16 plus Sivir. That ends up being the Lux. No further kills, can't just arcane shift for days and chase down someone. But you'll take the kill if it leads to a Baron, and they can actually run at Baron, so run an Elder Dragon and get a 5-stack double Elder with this Baron.
Oh boy, that's going to be pretty scary to watch if it does come down to that. For now, just going for the push up the mid lane, which is kind of interesting. A good push out from the side of KT down on the bottom side to deny that lane for quite a while. They're pretty close to the top lane. I was surprised they didn't want to take that one away, especially because of its distance from the Elder.
That does seem like the move because they have TP on Akali coming up. I guess they want to cover her for a little bit. UmTi tries to walk into the jungle, gets the bad news, and will back away. So they're not playing 3 lanes here. Kingzone Dragoness. I guess they're very afraid of one long-range lockdown, just killing someone and stopping their Baron buff. Power play completely. Does mean the inroads are going to be a little bit more shallow. But if the enemy comes to them, always the chance they just wipe the floor with KT Rolster. Speaking of the enemy.
All right, here we go again. The chase is on. The hunt is on, I should say. But either way, they get another flash out of Smeb here. They're going to group up for this mid inhibitor, line it up with the push down on bottom side, try to get these 2 inhibs, and then go towards the Elder.
Cuzz's job to run in and tank crowd control. Second inhibitor will go down without a fight. KT Rolster got to find their Alamo. They wouldn't have expected this game to turn so quickly 10 minutes ago. Seeming like that unlikely KT victory. SnowFlower, what you doing, bro?
Yeah, not sure why he was so far up, but he is going to be forced to yet again flash. That has been the story from the side of KT. Forced to flash all game long.
Kind of been the worry, though, for KT fans. A lot of solo mistakes for them. They seem to lose as individuals. Winning as a team isn't working either. Kingzone walk up, trying to find someone. They're back on SnowFlower. He'll die.
Oh, boy. Just so low. A ton of damage on the Deft, but it just doesn't matter. Gets it all healed up. And Prey and everybody is just being swept under the rug right now. BDD is just going to be crit down to the ground. And Kingzone is going to win game number 3 and take that expected victory we talked about.
You want to shout about it, but I don't think Kingzone will be smiling too wide. Naehyun accepted. His default is smiling. Kingzone pick up the victory. The hangover doesn't actually keep down Kingzone Dragoness, but things to work on with their series against Dumb1 Gaming looming on Saturday.
It's going to be a big one. You mentioned Naehyun smiling. He's not